Living on a boat transforms you in fascinating ways, each day bringing new roles to embrace. When we left the UK a couple of years ago, we were bright-eyed novice sailors and enthusiastic adventure seekers, with barely a clue about videography. But the journey had other plans for us. As we made our way through Europe, we evolved, becoming our own coast guard, fishermen and boat decorators. Yes, there were some close calls, but each challenge taught us something valuable. Crossing the Atlantic was a defining moment, finally giving us the confidence to truly call ourselves sailors. In Martinique, we became our own riggers, and in Aruba, we went in at the deep end to DIY fix our broken rudder. The Pacific side brought new adventures, turning us into amateur mechanics, and along the way we tackled everything from plumbing on our boat to the electrics, figuring out how to navigate and learning how to provision in remote locations.
Look how many whole grain mustards we have.
How many are there?
8.
Each new role we put on felt the same as changing clothes each day. However, this summer marked an interesting shift in our journey. We found ourselves completely immersed in boat projects, perhaps too immersed at times. While Zach spent hours upon hours resealing all our windows, and I was kept awake at night by the specific number of bolts we would need for our solar arch installation, we realised the importance of balance, of maintaining all the different aspects that make this lifestyle so extraordinary. It's a reminder that the beauty of boat life is not just in mastering individual skills, but in weaving them together into one remarkable adventure. And as we continue this hard dodger build, we dream about the epic sights we will see through this exact windscreen, and it gives us that little push to keep on cracking on.
Whilst a lot of this project has been about accurate measurements and attention to detail, there has been a large amount of it which has been just creative flow, and I think it's why I'm enjoying the project so much. It's less about conforming a shape to fit the boat and more about designing a shape to complement the boat, which is unlike any other project we've done before really. In the galley, let's take 2 sinks out and put 1 in. There was no creativity in that. It was simple hacking away at a surface and putting something that's more functional in place. And whilst we are putting something functional in place, we're trying to create something beautiful out there. And I think that genuinely is why I'm enjoying it so much. So this is the total boat cloth we've gone for. It's 17-ounce cloth, which we went for because we've got a few angles of 100 degrees. And essentially, this cloth is strong yet can flex around corners, and we spoke to the team actually about which one they recommended, and they said we should go for this one. If our calculations are correct, each sheet of this is 1.12 mil thick, and we want the whole dodger to be approximately a centimetre thick, maybe more. Our pilot house right now is about 1.5 centimetres thick, so it's super, hefty layup, and we want to replicate that with the dodger. However, we don't want to add excessive weight. So I think the plan at the moment, we've got 6 mil ply out there, and we're going to do 2 sheets on the top side of this, and then we've got 2 sheets underneath. And if at that point we want to add more, we can, but I think we're going to get 4 sheets on and then reassess. Usually they say 2 to 3 sheets will be fine, but we really want this thing to be solid. But while I am cutting this, I thought I'd chat about these. So I know what you're thinking already. Another elixir that claims to save the world and to fix your health. Firstly, I don't really blame you because there are a lot of them out there. So this is Magic Mind. I started drinking these back in June actually. They sent a load to my parents' house where I was recovering from my knee injury, and we weren't planning to work with them. They just sent them for us to try out, and over the couple of months me and my family actually started drinking these things, and I kid you not, I got so much stuff done. I went into a proper focus and I started looking into the science behind it. We like seeing papers, we like seeing the science behind things before we just ingest them. So in here there is matcha green tea, organic olive oil, ashwagandha, there's, I can't say that word, but citisoline is actually really cool. Look into it. It makes your brain pathways clearer and faster. There's lion's mane, which is an amazing natural supplement you can take to help your mental clarity and focus and performance. Just check it out, you know, buy one of the smallest amounts and just try it.
I was really skeptical about these to begin with, but I think the fact that we've only got 2 of these left when we were meant to have loads more to shoot this integration is a testament to how much we actually like them and how much they do actually work. So definitely go and check them out.
But anyway, I'm going to get back to cutting some fiberglass. So this morning I went out early before it got too hot and I measured for the strips of fiberglass. We've seen some people do tabs this size down the seams to just hold it together and then go back in and do strips over. The issue with that is I don't want them on 2 different levels. Sure, we can sand it back, but getting those ridges out is going to be a pain. So to make it simpler and easier for us sanding wise, I've gone out and measured tabs, but they're strip tabs, if that makes sense. They're kind of yay big and they'll cover half a section. So we can cut the cable ties off half a section, tab it, and then cut the cable ties off the lower bit once that is somewhat cured. We're going to leave it, you know, a couple of hours. It's so hot here, it cures pretty quick. And then we won't start fully laying up until 24 hours later. And actually, just talking about that, the epoxy we've used is the TeuluTribe high performance epoxy, and there's a few reasons we went with it. It has no amine blush, which is a waxy residue that gets released when epoxy cures, and it's strong yet still flexible, which is really good for wood substrates, which is obviously what we're doing. It's going to be an itchy day, I just know it. I feel it in my bones. If you haven't worked with fiberglass before, you get really, really itchy. It's glass, so the tiny little bits of glass just penetrate your skin and itch, and you can't see them because they're so minuscule, but they're there. Our schoolboy error.
It works.
That's funny.
God, it's a pain.
Sorry. I just spent the time dremeling up in here. I need to do more, but I'm happy with how that's come out. It's just so important it's a smooth surface. What's happening, Zach?
That tarp should be stopping most of it. It's raining a lot.
I really hope no one gets on the dodger. Despite us covering the entire dodger in many, many, many tarps last night, very sadly the sideways wind just was no match. And as you can see, this has got wet and it's curved in, and there's nothing really we could do to fix it. We thought initially about putting some screws in and straightening it, but I think the best thing would be to cut it at the seam, and template it out and recut it and reattach it. So yeah, a bit of a step back this morning, but hopefully this is the last step back and we can just start making good on progress later on this afternoon.
We already knew it was a risk building the dodger here, where we had no access to a workshop. But we've just got to make the best out of the situation. So after a couple more hours and deja vu moments, it was as if the rain had never touched it.
So this is the new corner and we're learning from our mistakes, you know, that's all you can do. And, you know, a little bit of me did think before we did this, we should coat every single bit in epoxy before we even template it and put it together. Hindsight's 20/20, you can only live and learn for next time. I don't know when I'm going to be next building a hard dodger, but we shall see what the future has in store for us. I'm now coating it in just thin epoxy, give it some waterproofness. Yeah, it should all be good, but I'm going to make sure I do all the seams, and then the whole job of today is to make sure that whole dodger is firstly fully bone dry. I mean, if we seal any water in, it will be awful, it will delaminate and all our hard work will be in vain. So it's really important we let the thing fully dry out But I mean, it's not, apart from that bit we cut off, it's not actually wet, so we'll just give it a few hours in the heat and it should be fine. So yeah, I'm not letting this morning taint the day. It's gonna be a good day. We're gonna make some good headway. I believe it. Starting to lift it now. Made me sweat.
Wow, that's better.
Yeah, you like it?
Mm-hmm.
This morning we lifted the Dodger off the boat and we carried it up here, and actually we couldn't get it off because the shrouds were there. We had to run a halyard down to a tow rail and we had to take the tension off one of the mizzen shrouds, so that was fun. Anyway, it's up here now, and I didn't sand the edges to get an angle less than 100 degrees before I added these strips, which has meant there are bubbles on the seams which aren't good enough. Where there's bubbles, there's air, which air's not strong. So I need to get rid of those. I didn't want to sand before I put these tabs on because it just wasn't rigid enough. So now these tabs are on, I can sand back, and then I'll thicken epoxy, then I'll thin epoxy, then lay the big sheet on. And I think that will give us a really nice solid foundation. We finished fiberglassing the front last night. We did 2 sheets on the front, and then we had some of this pill ply left over from Grenada that we bought for our rudder that we redid in Aruba. There we go. And we decided to whack it on at the last minute. However, it was dark and the mosquitoes were out in their full force. So we should have spent more time smoothing it out and getting a really good finish, but I mean, we were doing the best we could, and that's all that matters. The tarp is going a bit crazy today. We've actually got wind for the first time. I'm just going to peel this off now and see what we're working with. Pretty happy with that. It's definitely smoother than I could have got it. The best way I can describe pill ply is it basically sucks the resin and hardener to the surface, the thinned epoxy. It sucks it over this cloth, so you don't get the marks of the cloth. If you do this well enough, you just get a smooth finish. As you can see, we didn't do it well enough, but I mean, it is smoother than we could have got with just the fiberglass. So also, if you see this cloth that hasn't been laid up, we are cutting that out anyway, so we realised that rather than just waste all the epoxy on doing sections that we know we're going to cut out tomorrow, just leave the centre, and we left about 3 or 4 inches that we still know we're going to cut out, which are well wetted up, so I'm not worried about it not being strong at all. Zach went to town and has got these...
Literally went to town.
Yeah, literally went to town and bought these bits of wood. They're well, they're like quarter semicircles. Anyway, he bought this kind of ridged piece, And he got back and one piece is really short, and I said, how come this is so short?
I think you'd call it a semicircle.
Maybe a semicircle. Anyway, I said, how come this piece is so short? What happened to it? And he said, the taxi driver shut it in the door and snapped it in half. That wouldn't happen anywhere else, would it? Anyway, we don't want the rain to drip into the cockpit. So what we're going to do is we're going to double these up like this and have them like that. And we're going to put 2 screws like that to hold it. And then tomorrow when the epoxy is set and the fiberglass is all good, we're going to unscrew them from underneath to keep that nice straight edge. Forward, back. It's 7 AM. How's it looking?
That's good. This bit came out actually really nicely. It needs sanding on the top, obviously, but that lip I'm pretty happy with.
It's lovely.
It's like subtle, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it should do the job.
Oh, let's not clonk the camera. I think it looks gorgeous. It looks really nice, Zach. We did a thing.
Yeah.
Woo, woo, woo.
Getting there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so happy with how this has all come out.
It's feeling really good. This side came out particularly well.
Oh, we can line that up. So it needs to come down a lot. And then, yeah.
Spike it up here, yeah.
Yeah, wait, it needs to come down a little bit more. Just got to get a few more bubbles out here. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted. It's a scorcher today. We've now templated the front windows. However, we come up with 2 issues here. Firstly, we have our traveller line going through the Dodger, and the window at this current size, it means the line will be going through the glass, which it can't do. The second thing is, Perspex over here is the biggest size we could find, and it's just not big enough, essentially, which is fine because those 2 issues combined basically means we need to shrink these windows in about 1 inch. So to get the right profile still, all we're going to do is fold it in half, make sure we've got a centre point, and then add ½ inch on either side of the centre line, and then cut that inch out, and then rejoin it together. Frankenstein style, and then we should have the correct size windows. Now that we've done the templates, I'm just going to come in here and measure this gap here so we know how high off the lip the window needs to be, and then because we've made it smaller, that will naturally give us more space at the bottom for a line to go through. First one's down. Yay! Oh. The sun is just starting to come up over the horizon, and it was a really sleepless night. Biggest thunderstorm ever came over, and it just lasted pretty much the entire night, just the torrential rain. I think at midnight Zach ran up here, make sure the Dodger was okay, because for the first time in a week it's been vulnerable because we cut the window out and we ran out of daylight to seal, to put epoxy around. We taped it and we bin bagged it, but yeah, I don't know if it was enough. So I'm really hoping we don't get here this morning and see a huge setback. That would be pretty devastating, because tomorrow we haul out. So it's got a lot going at the moment. Wet.
Yeah.
This had duct tape on it, so it's not too bad. No, but this, look, this is soaking. You can see.
Oh yeah, it's fucking warm, isn't it?
This is dry. I feel like when we get really close to like big progress, we just have setbacks, you know? And that's kind of tough to live with. It's one of those things. This looks okay. That's a bit wet.
Think about it. Setbacks aren't really working against us. If anything, they're like those straight-talking friends who tell us exactly what we need to hear, not what we want to hear. They show us our blind spots, point out where we could be better, and reveal just how much we can handle when pushed. And you know what's wild? When we actually lean into these tough moments instead of fighting them, we don't just get past them, we come out the other side as something new altogether.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, up. Slowly back.
Yeah.
Okay, now lean. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Got it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's terrifying, but yeah.
Okay, and now slowly up into here.
No, wait, oh, going onto the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up.
Okay, we need to lift up and on again.
Yeah.
Don't drag it. Up.
Good
Oh,
job.
we did it. Should we move it on a bit more?
Yeah, a tiny bit more. 3, 2, 1, up. And in.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. We finished glassing yesterday evening, just as the sun was setting, and this morning we woke up at 5 in order to come up before our haul out, and Zach has cut around all the excess, and now we're just sanding it because we haul out.
Just about all of it. The windows are a bit of a pain to do, but the main bit is done now.
We need the bit that goes onto the deck flat because this is our one of our last opportunities to get it onto the boat, because in about 3 or 4 hours time we haul out, and we don't want to be hoisting up a halyard. That just sounds like a recipe for a disaster. So we're going to finish sanding, get it to a point where it will sit flat on the deck, and then go to the boat with Parker and carry it and put it on the deck. In order to create the fiberglass tabbing, we need to bolt it down, because we have decided to bolt it down, right?
Yeah.
Then we've got access to the engine should we ever need that, and it's just a bit less permanent than glassing it in. So that's what we're doing now. But it's a time crunch for sure.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm putting the shroud here as hard as I can.
Can we lift it? Can you lift it up, Zach?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Here, stop. Let me take the shroud off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold it.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, we got it.
Beautiful. Oh.
Always down.
Yep.
And this way a little bit.
Yep.